being recorded.
Perfect. And now we are officially recording, everybody. All right. So, like I said earlier, Miki or Mikey, she's not going to be able to make it today due to personal issues. So I'm filling in. My name is Raul Diaz. Today's class is going to be all about clipper cutting and detail fading. I have my buddy Sam here. He's my model today. All right. And the type of haircut that I'm going to be doing is a low drop fade here. And I'm going to do a nice heavy texture top. I'm probably going to redirect all the hair somewhat forward, do a nice crop top, heavy texture, right? And his beard, I don't think we're going to do anything with his beard today. I'll leave that for another class. But we're focusing all about detail fading and getting that as close to the skin as possible, all right? So first things first, I like to show everybody the tools that I will be using. Okay, see if I can get a nice shot here. And I am in my dining room. Perfect. And let's lock that into place. All right. Now I have my blow dryer here. This is a GRL Feather 3600. I have my shaver. This is not a JRL shaver, so I won't name the name of that. We have our JRL 2020C, right? We have my JRL 1050, and I put a fade blade on there. Since it is a mannequin that we're using, I'm not going to be using a trimmer to debulk or get down to the skin because the mannequin is not real skin. It's just mostly plastic. The only guard that I will be using is a half guard. Okay. I got my two favorite combs here. This one will be for debulking and blending. And then this one will be for using throughout the haircut. I got my tight side and my wide side here. And when I'm getting in and down to the skin, this is how I'm going to remove a lot of the clippings, move that out of the way. For styling, using the Fiber Gum by 11114 and the Texture Tonic by 11114 as well. Hello, how are you? Kristen, can you turn off your camera for me? And Bonnie, can you turn off your camera for me, please? So we can maximize the screen. Perfect. So let's see if we can get a good angle in here. Let's drop this down some. All right. Let's get that there. All right. On the chat section on the bottom, if you guys can just throw a little thumbs up if everybody can hear me clearly. How's my sound, everybody? Perfect. All right, so what I'm going to do is, since it is mannequin hair, I don't really need to use any grippers or any type of hair clips. I just simply comb it. I did dampen it slightly before we even started, just so I can have a little bit of pliability. I'll comb these hairs out and down. Switch the angle here a bit, just so I can get it. And what I'm doing here, and this is pretty much the consultation section, where I'm just checking to see if I have any abrasions or anything, just like on any regular client that I have in the everyday shop. Just checking to see if there's anything that might obscure my fade or stop me from being able to create a clean fade, right? Now I'm going to take my Fresh Fade 1050, right? And I'm going to create my line, right? So my line, I'm going to start it from the temporal peak right here. I'm going to aim a little bit under the occipital bone, right? And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to accent his face shape, all right? I want to accent the face shape, and you can see Mr. Sam has a nice, beautiful, chiseled face. I want to make sure I preserve that as much as possible and give him that superhero look, right? So I'm going to strike my first line. And Mr. Sam doesn't have any ears, so we're not going to worry about pulling his ears down. Try to get in there as tight as possible. Okay. There we go. And this is my first guide, guys. My first guide. I always like to drop it down as tight as possible as my first guide. Right? So I can know where my shape is, what my shape for the fade is going to be. Okay? Make sure I get everything under here. I am going to be fading one side first, and then I'll continue to fade to the other side. Move all these clippings here. Hello, could you turn off your camera for me, please? Could you turn the camera off so we can maximize our screen so everybody can see? Is that Yvonne? There we go. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to grab my electric shaver, and I'm just going to knock this all the way down as close to the skin as possible, okay? Close as I can get it. As you can see, I'm not going all the way up to the line. I'm just slightly dragging the shaver very, very close to the line. So I'm stopping right about here. I'm not going all the way up to the line. I'm stopping right about maybe a quarter inch before the line, okay? And I'm doing that so I can transition from skin to hair. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my 2020C, and I'm going to open the blade all the way open. All the way open. Okay? And I'm going to strike my second line. I'm going to aim about an inch above that. Okay? Now, because I'm creating these elongated guides, right, the fade is going to be real stretched out, okay? And that's what you want. You want the fade to be as stretched out as possible with maximum detail, okay? So since I got this line all the way at the very, very bottom, you can barely see it right here, right? I'm at that very, very bottom line, got it all the way down to the skin, and now I'm using my clipper open on the 2020C open, and I'm creating another guide above that, right? So I have two different shades going on here. Now this top part, I'll attack that using a different tool, okay? But for the most part, we're creating two different guides, okay? And then we're gonna blend that together. All right, could you turn off your camera for me so we're able to maximize the screen? Miranda, I think that's how you spell it, or how you say it. Miranda, can you turn off your camera for me, please? Awesome. All right, so now my clipper blade is open. I'm going to knock it down 2 notches. 1, 2. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete this very, very bottom line, okay? So open all the way. 1, 2. That puts it about midway. And we're going to knock down this bottom line here and create that smooth transition. As you can see, I am using the very corner of my blade in order to smooth out that bottom line that small section in the very, very bottom. And I'm switching over to the other corner just to get a better angle. Now, if you guys do have any questions, feel free to drop them into the little chat section on the very, very bottom, okay? Feel free to drop those in, and I'll answer them as best as I can. Hello, how are you, Francesca? Thank you for turning off your camera. Perfect. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my half guard, okay? I'm going to place it on my clipper like so, and I'm going to close that all the way. And what this is going to do is I'm going to create a smooth transition with this bulkier section up top, but I still want it to be as thick as possible. So I'm just going to graze it slightly, and just so you guys can get a better vantage point, try to turn him as much as possible, okay? And I'm not going to hold the clipper flat, right? Because flat creates a harsh line. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to graze my teeth slightly. Turn him a little bit more. I'm going to graze the teeth just slightly, and that's what's going to smooth out this little section right here, okay? Now, I am going to use clipper over comb just to smooth out this top section, but right now I'm just going to focus on this bottom line, okay? So I have clipper closed, I have the half guard on, and I'm just going to graze my teeth. Graze the teeth just slightly, and that's going to decrease that harsh line, that harsh transition from clipper open to half guard, okay? And by me doing this, I have more control than I would with holding the clipper completely flat and going straight up, okay? Since I'm going hair by hair, slight section by section, I'm able to eliminate that slight line from clipper open to the half guard, okay? Again, using the corner, entering that line just slightly. And you notice my small C-stroking flicks here? By me doing this, it allows me to control and smooth out these little micro sections to create a nice smooth transition. You see how that's starting to come together? Move that a little bit closer. See how that's starting to come together in this little area right here, right? There's no harsh line, right? And it is mannequin hair, so it is going to look a little crazy. I'll keep going in there until it looks completely detailed. Hello, how are you? I'll keep going until it looks completely detailed, right? But you're starting to notice that my shape is already being created, okay? Now I'm going to turn my mannequin head a little bit more, okay? And you'll start to notice right back here above the occipital bone, that's that line I was talking about, right? The line that existed here is back here only now. I've already smoothed out all these little sections just by grazing it with my half guard and using the tips of the teeth, okay? By me doing that, it gives me that control, all right? I'll give you another example here. And you can see that in full effect here. And the reason why I choose this technique is because I feel, my personal opinion, I feel I have more control over the clipper feeding the hair through the blades, all right? Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the features that this clipper has, okay? Not only does it have amazing runtime, okay? You can see the runtime displayed on the very, very bottom. I have about 2 hours left. I haven't charged this thing in about, I would say, a week or so, right? And I still have 2 hours left of battery time, right? And that's constant battery time. This is on the first speed. On the second speed, you can hear it kick up a little bit more, right? Clipper also opens up almost to a number 1, okay? You can see it there, how long the blade opens up, which allows me to have maximum control over every hair type, wet or dry, doesn't matter. These blades are phenomenal, okay? They have little channels inside where the oil gets trapped and allows the lubrication to stay consistent throughout the entire cutting process. I do oil in between every single haircut, so I always have a clean, smooth cut, all right? Now, I'm gonna give you a nice example of what to do when you have super bulky hair up top. I'm gonna remove this top line, but I'm going to put it on the highest speed. So 1 being the low speed, put it on the high speed so I can have that debulking capability. All right, let me switch my position here so you guys can get an over shoulder view. With that here, I'm gonna turn my mannequin head. Hopefully I don't knock them off the table. Boom. And I'm just gonna slightly graze this top area because it's creating this weird triangle and I want to smooth that out just slightly, okay? So clipper blade open. I'm gonna put my clipper on the highest speed we have. I'm gonna take my favorite comb that I like to blend with, use the wide side, comb that over like so. And I'm just gonna enter at an angle, okay? I'm gonna pull the teeth back towards me, and I'm just gonna graze just slightly, just because I wanna eliminate that slight lip that's happening up on the top. And this will solidify my top crown area. So when I go and style it, everything will connect. Go back to my half guard. Notice the little spot right here that did not hit for some reason. There we go. Perfect. Now I'm getting my shape. All right. So now I have my shape. I have my fade here on this side. I'm just going to continue the motions on to the other side here. Okay. I'm going to continue the same thing on this side, right? So it'll match. Okay. Got my fade going on this side. I'm going to do the same fade on this side. And this will happen pretty quick because I've already explained how I did it on the other side. All right. And I'll show you that the features of these clippers will allow me to have a smooth transition, effortless, with no time. Okay. Go ahead and grab my 1040s here. And just like I discussed earlier, in the deep bulk, I have the fade blade on this clipper. And benefits of having 2 clippers, one with one blade and the other one with a fade blade on it, is it allows you to have a cleaner workspace and allows you to cover more ground in a shorter amount of time. And organization is key in this industry, so having 2 sets of tools instead of just one for everything, and get everything done more efficient, right? Grabbing my clipper open, my 2020C. I'm gonna grab this, do my C strokes here. And this is in real time. I'm dropping it 2, putting it about halfway. And because these clippers open up so wide, you don't really need very many guards. As you can see, I'm only using 1 guard, okay? Using 1 guard for the entire haircut. And that's because of the versatility of our 2020C. Okay. Here's my guard, my half guard. Place it on here. Close it. Hi Miranda, how you doing? Can you turn off your camera for me so we can maximize the screen so everybody can see? Now that I have my half guard back on, I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna graze this bottom line here, just using the tips of the teeth. I'm gonna watch this blend happen. You see these lines disappear with ease. Use the corner and smooth out this blend as much as I can. Perfect. What's going on? You can turn off the camera for me, please? Can you turn off the camera, please? The camera. If you can turn it off so everybody can see. Perfect. All right, I'm going to take my wide section of my favorite blending comb here, flip it open, enter at a diagonal, and I'm just going to remove this top line here. What's going on, guys? If y'all can turn off the camera for me so we can have a wider point of view. Now just grazing my teeth. Remember, I have the clipper on the high speed. Just grazing slightly to debulk that top layer. Perfect. Now we're getting somewhere, guys. Now we're getting somewhere. There we go. Now we have our shape. This very, very bottom part right here, I'm starting to notice that there is a bit of a line. A little bit closer right here. You can see there's little demarcation right here that was increased. Can you turn off your mic for me, please? Hi, Daisy. How you doing? Can you turn off your camera for me, please?
Hey, Raul, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I have a question.
Sure, go
For
ahead.
for a drop fade, will you use the same technique?
Exact same technique. It's all about placement of that first guide, right?
Yeah.
So say I were to take my guide instead of doing a mid drop, right? And I would try to create a lower drop. I would actually exaggerate this arch up and above this ear, and I'd bring it down up and under the occipital bone even more, like closer to the nape area. And I would even use a trimmer instead of the fade blade, right? And the only reason why I'm using the fade blade at this moment is because it's a mannequin, right? So you can't really see a transition of skin
Yeah,
on a
no, it's
mannequin
tough.
because
Yeah, with a
everything's plastic. But for a detailed drop fade like that, I would take my trimmer and I get it to the lowest possible, and then I would take my shaver and clean that up before I even start the debulking of the crown area. If that makes sense.
yep. Now, would you only use one guard also for that?
Um, you can. You can. With this particular clipper, yes. And the only reason why is because of that long range of motion, because you're getting the blade almost all the way open to close to a number one.
Yeah.
If you have it zero gapped, it's a little bit under a one. But using that half, boom, you got your one, and then clip over comb would be your number two. Honestly, if you get to the number two, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I try to keep this top part as heavy as possible because I can cut more hair off. I can't put it back.
Yeah.
So if I preserve this crown area as much as possible, I can actually redirect it and style it in a way that accents the facial features even better.
Cool. Good to know. Thank you, man.
Yes, you're welcome. Any more questions? Keep throwing them at me. I'll answer them. What I'm here for. Now, debulking this top area right here, it's not too difficult, especially when you have the clipper on its high power position. It's almost as if the hair feeds into the blades and immediately gets eliminated. So you do have to be pretty careful.
Hello, Raul.
Yes, talking.
Yeah. Do you use this technique for every type of hair?
For the most part, yes. The tight curls, I use a slightly different technique if the hair is laying onto the skin. But for the most part, a lot of my wavy texture, a lot of my straight texture hair, I'll use the exact same technique. So 90% of the time, I'm using the same technique for almost every haircut that I do. And for the most part, it's self-explanatory, right? You go in there, you debulk to the point until it looks as smooth as possible. And you see how it's starting to look smoother? I'm actually going to take my shaver and get it even tighter, like I did on the first side. And this shaver part right here, you can choose to do it before or after the side has been blended. This is the only part of the haircut that you can do before or after. Everything else, you have to do it all together.
And you're sorry, sir. You're never having a hard line with the shaver.
No.
I mm,
And the reason why is that lots of years of practice, right? But most importantly is I don't go all the way up to the original guideline, right? I don't go all the way up. So since my guideline was right here, I actually stop it about a couple centimeters under that, right? And I won't stop harsh. I'll actually continue my C stroke as if I was using the clipper. Okay, and by doing that is the hair is actually sticking up and out of the skin already, right? And the shaver is just grazing it like so. So by you doing that, you're shaping it as if you were using a regular clipper to shape the shape part of the head. All right. Now, this top part, which is my favorite, okay, I'm actually going to connect everything up here and make a smaller or tighter crop top. You see how this one's super long, and then you can actually flip it either side. I want this to be as short and textured as possible, so I'm going to use my clipper to create that, right? I'm not going to use my scissors. I'm going to use my clippers to create that, and you'll see how I do that now, all right? And I'm right-handed, so I favor my right hand more than my left hand, right? So I'm actually going to turn it so I can start on the left side, and I can start from the back above the occipital bone here. I'm going to cut straight through there, right? So I'm going to create a section, comb this hair out. And you see how this fade accents his head shape real nice. So it gives me a lot of room to play and create something different, right? So I'm going to create a nice section. I'm going to comb all this down and come right through the middle. I'm going to do another one here. And I'll go ahead and I'll show you what I have here with the camera. Okay. You see I created a section in the middle, right? And this is how I'm going to create my guide for the whole haircut. Okay. So I'm going to cut from the back here. You can see that. Cut from the back, and I'm going to make this as short as I can and redirect it all the way to the front. You see how these bangs are in his face? I'm going to eliminate that almost all the way, so it'll be probably about a little bit above the eyebrow, okay? And I'm just going to continue that like a ramp going upwards, but still maintaining that square crop top look, all right? So by me creating that center section, it allows me to have control and allows me to create a smooth transition, right? So taking my clipper, closed, I'm going to grab the back section. Let's make sure that you guys can see here. There we go. Grab my back section. You see, can you guys see this? Redirect that right here. Perfect. So you guys can see a little bit better. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to grab this back section here. And I have clipper closed. Okay. I'm going to put it on the high speed. All right. High speed. This angle. I want you guys to be able to see this angle as much as possible. You guys can see that? Move this. There we go. That's a little better angle for everybody to see. Okay, so clipper closed. All right. This is my grip. Comb, middle finger here. Then I have my clipper here. Just going to comb it up using a wide section of my comb. I'm going to bring that up. And I'm just going to cut. Boom. Easy. See? Now I have my section. Bring that up just a little bit higher. Perfect. I'm going to continue this on the back section. I'm going straight to the front, okay? Using my finger as a guide. Now, when cutting with shears, I have to stop right here on my second knuckle, right? When cutting with the clippers, I can go all the way up to my palm. See that? And go all the way up to that crease of my fingers there. Do it again. See if you guys can see that. And go all the way in. Actually, I'm going to grab some more hair. Perfect. See that there? So now I got my section right in the center. Okay. Now I'm going to continue that. I'm just actually going to pick up Sam, turn him. Right? I'm going to grab the back, pull everything straight up, like so. I'm just gonna go straight through and just follow my guide all the way to the front. And increase this angle there so everybody can see it a little bit better. Perfect. All right. So I'm just gonna keep grabbing hair and connecting it with my center section that I just cut. See that there? So now I'm starting to get what I'm looking for, right? Nice and short in the center. And create my bangs. I'm going to connect this side right here. I'm going to over direct up and out like so. I want to maintain the square look. So when I do texturize it, blow dry it, and style it, everything will make sense and it'll accent my client's facial features, right?
I'm sorry, sir, to interrupt you, but why do you prefer the taper over the shears?
It depends on, it really depends on the actual texture of the hair, right? Since this mannequin's hair is a little straight, right? I'm going to use this technique for the hair just to debulk as fast as possible and to get to the point of the actual haircut. Now, if the hair is a little wavier and I can't really tell what's longer or straighter, right? I'm actually going to use my shears for it, and I'll use a different technique. I'll actually blow dry the hair till it's completely dry and stretched out, and then I'll use my shears to dry cut it. But for the most part, I'll use this technique for most of my straight hair clients, just because of that hair that sticks straight out. Okay, and it just makes it much easier for me in a real life situation. Turn this over here. Just follow my guide. I'm just continuing this guide straight through. Okay. There it is. Now, I see some longer hairs that I want to connect. You see that here? Redirecting it out, and I'm cutting straight up, maintaining that squareness. See that there? Have everything nice and even. Now this front area, I am. See that there? I'm gonna eliminate this little corner. Just to soften it up just a touch. Bring this over. Soften this up. Perfect. Now, I'm going to start applying texture, okay? And you'll start to notice that this particular technique that I'm using to apply texture seems a bit strange, but it makes perfect sense, okay? Now, if you use a razor to apply texture, right? What do? You separate the hair, you create your section, you bring the hair up, and then say you take your razor and you cut in like so, right? What that's doing is you're creating texture on the inside, right? And that's what we want to do with the clippers as well. So in order to achieve that, the look as if it was cut with a razor, let me see if I could raise this up here, lock that in place, bring that down, okay. Oh, now we're bright again. Perfect. Now, in order to create that simulation, now you're cutting with the razor, or creating that texture with the razor, I'm going to take my clipper, turn it on the low speed, right? And I'm going to open it all the way up. Now, same technique with holding the comb. get my section in, and I'm going to tilt it back towards me, and I'm just going to graze the teeth while they're open and just shave just a little bit. You see how I still have my length? I'm just shaving just slightly, right? I'm just grazing the teeth. And what this is doing is it's simulating texture with a razor. Why do you want texture with a razor, right? Benefits of texturizing with a razor or texturizing with texturizing shears is you're creating an uneven plane, okay, and you're creating more translucent background on your hair in order to create that section, right? So your texture is being placed in the middle of the hair shaft, and then you have the ends being softer, right? Less blunt, and you can actually create more natural looking hairstyles that have a more natural balance, right? So whenever you go to style your hair and you wake up and you just look good, it's all because of the texture. It's not because you applied product as soon as you woke up in the morning. No, it's you have even balanced texture throughout your haircut. And that's what separates a good haircut versus good product, okay? Good haircuts are accent, are the base of a good product. So when you add a good product onto a good haircut, it just makes the haircut look even better and it makes it last longer. Now, applying texture is done towards the center of the cut, okay? On the outside, you'll notice I won't even touch the outside of the haircut. I'll only touch the inside. Even when it comes to this front fringe area, all my texture will be on the inside. In the front fringe area, I won't touch anything up in the front. And the reason why is because you'll see little hairs stick out after you blow dry or throughout the day. If they touch your hair and they move it like so, you'll see little hairs start to stick out, right? And that's your foundation. You don't want your foundation to stick out and show everybody what you did, okay? You want it to look natural and flow and look beautiful. So all the texture needs to be on the inside, okay? Now, we'll continue this technique. I'll adjust Mr. Sam here and tilt his head as far back as I can. Bring this up, comb that through, and I'm just gonna graze and just shave this section slightly. And I'll do it in here. You notice there's no exact measurement to how many sections I'm grabbing or how thick of a section I'm grabbing, right? And the reason why is because over time, when hair grows out, it looks more natural if you grab bigger, chunkier sections than you do with tighter sections. Tighter sections create more uniformity. The bigger, chunkier sections will actually create a more natural look. Avoiding the outside, only creating my texture and shape on the inside. Okay. You see how all those harsh cuts that I created, they're starting to dissipate, and I'm starting to get a more natural flow with this hair. I'm going to tilt his head forward, okay, comb this back, and I'm going to start working in the fringe area now, okay? A slight section just to separate. Now what I'm going to do, let me see if I can adjust this angle here for you. I'm going to do the same. You'll see, just graze the teeth. I'm not eliminating any length. I'm just applying texture to what I already have. And you'll see it's starting to become more translucent. That's what we're looking for, okay? And do this again, right? See how thick and heavy that is? Let's make it more translucent. Just by grazing the teeth slightly. See that? A little more translucent now. And I still have my flow in the front, okay? Let's get another one right in here. Just lightly graze to the end. Now, for anybody that's going to try this for the first time, I suggest getting the hair just damp and then trying it. Don't do it dry as your first attempt, because you will chop off a bunch of hair. You want to just graze it slightly, and the wet hair will actually create a little bit of resistance, and you'll actually end up cutting less hair. What do you guys think so far? How's it looking? Mr. Sam, come on. No? Let's see this right here. I'm just going to smooth that out. Perfect. Now, you notice I had the clipper on the whole time, and it's still reading 2 hours. That shows you how long this battery lasts. All right, now we're going to get to the styling portion. Okay? I'm going to take my 11114 Texture Tonic. Where's it at? Is it focusing? No? Too bright, maybe? Let me decrease the brightness so you can see. There we go. See that? This is Texture Tonic by 11114. What I'm going to do is spray this generously, okay? I'm just going to be as generous as possible and get it almost wet, right? And this is honestly one of my favorite products because I can use it for any hairstyle. Any hairstyle. There's some more. Perfect. Now I'm going to take my Feather 3600 and I'm going to start blow drying from the back, right? So I'm going to blow dry from the back, leading all the way to the front so I can create my control and my nice flow to the front area here. Turn his head. You notice I'm just using my fingertips. I'm not using a specific brush or anything. I'm just using my fingertips because the sea salt spray or the Texture Tonic is actually expanding on the actual cuticle layer of the hair. And it's designed to do that for anybody that has thinner textured hair or whatnot. Use that Texture Tonic. And once you apply heat, it expands and makes it feel way thicker than what it is, right? So it dries up all those oils, the natural oils on the cuticle layer of the hair, and creates that thickness, almost as if you know those texture powders that a lot of people are using now. It feels just like that, and it's just a spray. Okay, so by me doing that, I can actually make it move the way I want. since I have a good amount of texture in here, I can redirect that. And now my pomade is going to act as my finisher. Okay, so my fiber gum, I'm just going to grab pinky amount. Okay, a little bit more, right about there. Apply it to the palm. And I'm just going to spread, use my fingertips, spread it out as much as I can. Get into the base. Okay. Start to see everything take shape. And I'm liking that here. Add a little bit of separation. You can twist the ends a little bit. And I have a little bit of product still in my palm, so I'm going to utilize that. Create a little bit of separation. Some positive and negative contrast here. Nice blend. Something that accents Mr. Sand's head. Okay. Perfect. What do you guys think? What do you think about Mr. Sand's haircut? Let's get in here and get on the side. How's that look, guys? Pretty good?
Good.
All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now, and then I'm going to answer all the questions you guys have. Okay? Go ahead and stop the recording.